Well, I'm gonna go over there. What did you just say? This is the perfect time of the year for this?
Well, this is a long overdue conversation, and it actually works out. Everything works out for us, right? Not to us, because it's the third week of 2022. And this is the moment in the year when the resolutionists come out, and, let's just assume you start the first of the year. Like, you're ambitious, you're driven, you have like this goal, and you're going all in on it. And about the third or fourth week is when there's some instability. We start falling back into old patterns, old habits. And I've seen it, like, this isn't regurgitated theory. This is things I've seen over 2.5 decades plus of being around people that are suffering in their own silence, and they're attempting to drop the body fat, and they're seeking to be the healthier version of themselves. And what we're going to talk about today in our topic just aligns almost perfectly with the time of the year, being at the third week. And like, I feel like we're on a mission, Gayle. Like, we're certainly on a mission, and people need our help. And that's why we show up every single week, is so that if you can take away just a little piece or something we said, maybe it's a statement, maybe it's a question we asked, maybe it's a transformational question, maybe it's a word that just jumps out at you, then don't ignore it, be present in it, and find out where that can make an impact and make a difference in the quality of your life. So here we are.
This topic at a party at the summit is the transformation game versus the weight loss game. And like, I'm passionate about this subject. For one, Steve and I talked yesterday. I said, Steve, you don't know about this because you have been healthy and fit your whole life. You've chosen to be healthy and fit your whole life. And you've worked with and helped like thousands of people transform their life. And so you've seen the roller coaster rides. You've seen I'm going to stick with this, the New Year's resolutions. Here we go. I've tried the diet plans. I've tried the different things. And here's what I found. Each time I would do something that I thought was something that I always wanted to be healthier and more fit. However, I would do what I did for a period of time. Maybe, it might have been a month, 2 months, 3 months. I got results. Hey, I'm going on vacation, right? I want to, it's time. I'm doing it this time. And I would have results. And the one I did that I had the most results was I released 28 pounds from my frame right around 2012. And I went from, maybe a size 14, 16 down to a size 10, 12. And I was really, proud of that. And I felt great at that space. But dang, I don't know how much time it took, but I gained that 28 pounds back plus, and I was at my highest weight 4 years ago when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Mm-hmm. And I've shared this before. I sought out help. I was willing to lay down my credit card to have somebody tell me what to do so that I could make a change in my life. And that worked for 3 months, 25 pounds released from my frame. But here's the thing that I noticed. Shortly after that, I would start to get back into my old habits. And like, okay, I haven't eaten pizza in the last 3 months. Oh, I'm just going to have a piece of pizza. Let's go out to dinner. I'll have a piece of pizza and a salad. And I was satisfied. And then the next time it's like 2 pieces or 3 pieces. Or okay, Steve and I are going to share a pizza, a large pizza. I'm going to eat a half a pizza. He'll eat the other half, and maybe we'll have a salad. And so why do you do that? And I've learned through going through the transformation method with Coach Steve over the last 2 years, I understand now why that is, why it is. But you see, it wasn't until I went through that, and then movement having a conversation with you, January of 2020, we had a conversation, and you weren't there to change my life. You were just there to ask me some great questions, like how much water do you drink? Simple things that I knew what I should be doing, but I wasn't doing. And then the movement came in. And so when I say I feel like I've cracked the code to sustainable transformation, because see, it's been a journey. It's been a 4-year journey of a little like ups and a little bit of down, ups and a little bit of down. But I know now how to stay up. And I know now how to stay on the track. I know now what it means to me to live a life happier, healthier, and more fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you, Coach Steve, for being willing to just ask the questions, for your knowledge. Oh man, I think, like, you guys, if you don't know Coach Steve, now you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. I've been talking about you for the last 2 years since I've known you, because you've made such a tremendous impact, not only on my life, but on the lives of dozens of other people that have taken a look at themselves and say, I want to change. I want what Gayle has. How many times do I hear that? What are you doing? How are you doing it? I want what you're doing. And I'm going to tell you that it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple. It's doing the small things over and over and over, building better habits, building different habits to replace the habits that you've created your whole freaking life. So Steve, talk to us about that process. And you have such an understanding and knowledge of the human brain and why we do what we do and how we can tweak those things to make significant changes in our life.
Yeah, Gayle, thanks for that. And thanks for sharing, because you put things in perspective. And there's a lot of things as you're talking, I would choose to unbox, but I want to keep this very specific to what we're here for. And that is to bring perspective into how we're choosing the approach in our health, in our fitness. And let's just assume for a second, and I know we shouldn't be assuming, but let's just, because the data shows, statistics show that something like 92% of people create a New Year resolution that has to do with being healthier, being more fit, having more energy, greater fitness, releasing body fat percentage, or some people just call it like, hey, I want to lose weight. Like that's what I just want to lose weight. There's not much specificity or clarity to that. But let's just go there for a second, because I want to meet people where they're at. And what do people do? Like what typically happens, and I sort of discussed what typically happens come the 3rd week, 4th week, when people have made that quote unquote commitment to what it is that they're seeking out, is that their motivation starts waning. They start like falling back into the old patterns, the old habits, the previous routines. And the reality is this, and I want to make this so simple that you're looking at it and you have 2 paths that you can go. And it's just a matter of, okay, it's not that we're confused. We just don't know what we should know. Like there is confusion there because whatever you've been doing hasn't been working. And so let's bring that through. So the ones that understand, and I say the ones because I've been very fortunate, blessed, and grateful that through the pandemic over the last 2 years, I've met some incredible humans, like those that just raised their hand and said, hey, I'll do what it takes. And it's so much more than doing what it takes. It's being who you need to be. So that's like, let me just set that in your brain for a second. And that's going to make more sense as I go through this process. Once they understood the difference with what I call the transformation game versus the weight loss game, it's been completely life-changing and so much easier to keep the weight released, to keep your energy levels higher, to keep that confidence on full tilt. Because you're probably asking, well, what's the difference? Hey, what's the difference between the weight loss game and the transformation game? I am so glad you asked that question. I'm going to tell you what the difference is between the weight loss game, and you can probably find yourself in one of these two, and I can probably guess which one it is. But the weight loss game is this. It's where you set a goal, because we all are setting these goals. It doesn't matter the clarity or the specificity to the goal, but you have a goal. And it could be as very watered down as, hey, I want to lose weight. Okay, fine. That's your goal. You want to lose weight, whatever that means to you. That's what happens in the weight loss game. And you'll do everything in your power. I mean, everything. You'll go through every extreme to reach and to meet that goal. Now, think about this. And you said something, you said vacation. Like, think about the vacation that you're planning or you've just planned. You plan a vacation 3 months out from now. What instantly happens? You start envisioning what you're going to look like in that bikini, what you're going to look like in that bathing suit. And you'll do everything in your power to any extreme to go chase that goal. Think about reunions, think about birthday parties, think about weddings that maybe you're going to be in or you're standing up in. So the weight loss game is that there's a goal and you'll do everything in your power to hit that goal. And typically that goal has something to do with the scale. Typically. Now, here's the transformation game. Here's where things get interesting. The transformation game, of course, there's a goal entailed. Like there's a vision, there's a desired outcome that we have. It's just that we've determined what the real purpose is behind that goal, the reason in which that goal is present. And we won't do everything in our power to reach the goal. We'll do everything in our power to fulfill and satisfy that purpose with the understanding and knowing and the drive of what our why and reasons are behind that goal. That's the difference. And those that understand that difference have a huge understanding and ease of process where it becomes sustainable in making that change and transformation. So, like, do we know anybody that we've talked to, or maybe it's even in ourselves? Raise your hand if it's like, I've been in that place before. Well, I'll do anything in my power. I'll go to the gym 9 days per week for 5 hours per day. I will eat clean, as they say, for every single meal. And I'll just go all in. I'll have a caloric reduction. I'll reduce my calories down to 500 calories if that's what it takes. Anybody know anybody like that? That's like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do and again, I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm here just to be real with you. Like, this is real. Like the detoxes. And I'm going to go do the starvation diet, or I'm going to do the ketogenic diet because that's what I heard is the best plan to drop unwanted weight. The question is, how sustainable is that? So once you know that difference between the weight loss game and the transformation game, that's going to dictate and determine the quality of life you're creating for longevity. Mm-hmm. So that's where we go. And we teach in the method, the 90-day transformation method. It's all about the transformation game. So, Gayle, once you understood that, how did that change your A, behaviors, and B, who you chose to be in the process?
Well, the behaviors, when I was going through the medical weight loss, no surgeries, but just the nutrition piece, I paid attention to what I was supposed to be eating. But then again, and it was all natural foods. And I think that was important for me because, like, so many times you're eating a specific meal plan, and once that meal plan runs out or you stop, then now you're faced with your real food choices again. So that was important, learning how to eat the foods that nourished my body, that release the inflammation from my body. So my behaviors with that were, paying more attention, reading labels, doing the things that brought my awareness around the food I was eating.
Mm.
Then I added movement. That movement started in the pandemic. I didn't put on the quarantine 15. I actually released the quarantine 15 because I made a decision to show up for myself. And there was an opportunity that you provided through the You Call It. So my behavior was showing up for myself for 30 minutes every day, 30 minutes. And that 30 minutes every day, even though it was hard, I didn't know exercises. I showed up because the community was pleasant. It was inviting. It was encouraging and inspiring. And I was able to grow. I was able to grow in that environment. And so I just kept showing up. That was the behavior. Who I became in the process was, wow, my body doesn't hurt. I'm moving my body. I'm taking walks. I'm riding my bike. I'm able to do things now because one, I my nutrition, my inflammation was down. So now I was moving my body, and then I did it consistently every day. Every day. We started at 5 days a week, and then it wasn't too long that I just started like, why am I not doing this on Saturday and Sunday? Because that's what was important to me, to do something every day. 2%, 30 minutes is 2% of your day. And so I want to pause here for just a second, because I'm thinking of other people who are just starting this journey of movement, and it hurts. You hurt, your knees hurt, your body hurts, but keep going. Look for other opportunities and behaviors that you can alter and change. And man, there's just so much to delve into with that. But just know that the small changes that you make every day, and you do it consistently, is going to make a difference in your life. And it did for me. Steve, I created a winning streak, and I was proud of my winning streak.
Sure did.
And when I started to move, then I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to the gym. So 3 days a week at the gym. And I started to look for different opportunities that would serve myself, make me feel great, because I had more confidence now. I had more confidence in who I was becoming because of the behaviors that I was choosing to make in my life on a daily basis.
Yeah. And you inspiring possibilities, people are coming to the surface and being like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what is this all about? And let me go back to that weight loss game, because so many people can relate to that, being there. And here's how you know you're there. You're there because you're really proud. You have a certain level of confidence. Your esteem is elevated because you're doing the things, like you're doing the process of your workouts and your nutrition, and waking up earlier. Maybe you're reading more books, getting more personal growth and development. They're doing the things that you told yourself you're going to do. But here's the question: what happens after the vacation?
Mm-hmm.
What happens after the wedding? After the honeymoon's over? What happens when you are leaving the 20-year reunion from your high school or college? And like, what happens then? There's this psychological pull that just your brain is going to go into a place of creating the urges again and saying, okay, well, that's done. Now what? Because you don't have the reinforcement of the reasons and the whys. The vision isn't clear. And we just did an entire workshop on creating vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
And when your vision is clear and you don't spend time being present in what exactly you want, then if you don't have the vision, you have vague visions produce vague results. But when your vision is clear, so are your life's choices.
Mm-hmm.
So sit in that for a moment and realize, what do you really want? Is it really a better quality of life? Then find out the reason why it's important to you. It's not enough even just to be sick and tired of being in your present circumstance. Like borderline hating it. And Malcolm X has that great quote where he says, that in which you do not hate, you eventually tolerate. That's when you know you're playing just the weight loss game, because you haven't created sustainability in working inwards in the reasons and the whys. So have a vision that excites you, and then have a vision that you can put emotional intensity into every day. It's not going to show up every day, but because it's that deep, the days that don't serve you, you just chalk it up as a learning opportunity and say, all right, well, let's get at it the next day. You fall off the horse, you get right back on the horse. Long term, here's what I'll say. It's not about losing the weight or releasing the body fat. It's about who you're becoming. It's about your integrity, your personal integrity at the end of the day. Change doesn't come from what you're doing. Change really comes from who you're being and living through the purpose and intentionality of creating a lifestyle that works for you. And the one question I usually ask when, maybe times are a little tough, you're feeling like, well, why am I doing all this? Why am I doing all the workouts? Like, what's all this for? Ask yourself, how long do you want to live this lifestyle for? And here's another thing I know. 3-4 weeks into the resolution, like, here's what typically happens. I'll have a conversation and we'll talk something like this. And then they're going to say, well, that's not me. Like, I've been doing really well for the last 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, I'm doing better than I thought I was going to. And then I'll say something like, well, what makes this year any different? Like, what's different? What is the separator this year than it was in previous years? And they're going to say, like, well, I'm just going to do more. I'm just going to do more work. I'm going to outwork the competition. Well, that's a fallacy. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less better, so you can create sustainability. And we had a great conversation, Gayle, yesterday, because our brains just synchronize when we're having a conversation about what are great topics to discuss and communicate here. But we started talking about like fasting and detoxes and processes that, yeah, sure, they're proven to work, but psychologically, again, our brain works on timelines and countdowns. And when you say, hey, I'm going to do something for 21 days, I know anybody can do anything for 21 days. What happens is our brain is going to try to give us the kickback. It's going to try to give us the urges and saying, well, you don't want to do that. Like, that's really uncomfortable. Let's go to what makes you feel comfortable. Let's go back to the processed carbohydrates. Let's go back to, the sugary drinks. Let's go back to those things. And you're like, no, you kick it in the face and you say, all right, well, no, I'm going to do it. I got 21 days to do it. But as soon as you start putting a timeline on it, your brain is counting down with you until the moment where that time clicks down to 0. And then it's going to say, all right, now what? Now it's time to get back into the old habits. And so there's a psychological development in that process that happens. And we're just here to encourage you to say, all right, what's more important? Is it more important that within 21 days you get to a certain goal and then you're not prepared or planned for what's going to happen thereafter? Or is it doing something small that you can do every single day that, given enough time, let's say it takes 3 months to get to what that goal is, but it's sustainable because you've embedded that habit. It's become automatic. It's become routine. It's become habitualized. That's the transformation game versus the weight loss game. And there's more in-depth process to that. We're just touching the surface on it to get you to understand that perspective.
Right. And, I'm going to just put a little plug in here for you, Steve, because you've developed the transformation method over the last 2 years. And there is a supported self-study that's available right now. The timeline closed for the in-person being a part of the Promise Keeper community for this quarter, but there's still the opportunity for people to take the Transformation Method 90 supported self-study, which is 12 weeks. It's 11 modules. And I'm going to tell you, for the $300 investment that you're going to make in yourself, it can change your life if you allow it to. The thought process, the understanding. We just went through the be, do, have, and identities next, and then the logical level. All of those things have more to do with this than with this. Who you're becoming in your mind, in your mindset. And Steve, I think you're the name that has been coined to you, the mind and body architect, is quite fitting. And
grateful for that. Thank you.
CoachTrezick.com/transform, I think, right?
Yeah.
And check out the self-study option. There's like Steve's really comical. I don't know if you've noticed that on our podcast, but his videos are engaging, his workbooks are thorough, and it's going to cause you to think and grow. And then perhaps maybe in the next quarter coming up April 1st, you can join the Transformation Method in person as well. So I would encourage you, if you're really looking to make a transformation in your life, it takes people who have been there and understand it to help guide you. And I can tell you for certain that Coach Steve Trezick has been there for 25 years, guiding and assisting people in their transformation. And what he's put together is golden nuggets that can transform your life.
Well, grateful for sharing that, Gayle, because I am passionate about people living in their best minds and bodies to the greatest of their potential. And I realize that there are windows for being part of our ecosystem and our environment and our community that we are, but it shouldn't be a missed opportunity for people. And so that's why I created the self-study, so that you can take all the great content, all the transformational work and processes and methodologies that I've created over the last 2 years and put it into at your own pace study. Just go through the videos, go through the content, go through the training. And it's not designed to be a warm bath. This isn't something where it's gonna be real comfortable. And it's it's almost like an ice bath at times. And you're getting shocked. You're like, holy, did he really just ask me that question? Is he really discussing this? Yeah, because in order for things to change, we need to change. We need to change from the inside out. And that's why transformation doesn't come from what we're doing. It doesn't. It comes from who we're being from the inside. And that's where life changes for you. That's party at the summit. There's different summits that we're partying at. And there's been some Promise Keepers like yourself, Gayle. This is your 8th time taking the program. And every time, per our conversations, you're learning something new, you're expanding, you've positioned yourself to absorb at a different level, a different layer of who you're choosing to be. And I'm grateful for that. And it's really just the beginning here. We're really just at the beginning. So consider that. Consider when you take back control and command of what you want in your health, are you playing the weight loss game, or are you ready to play the transformation game that's going to be long lasting? What's the constant driving force in your weight loss or fat loss journey? What's the driving force? And that might be part of what we discuss next week.
Yes, because we'll be back. We'll be back. Stay tuned for station identification.
That's right. All right. Well, I again appreciate your time and attention, everyone. Gayle, thanks for your energy and your passion, which you pour into people. And I'm ready to go. So if you're ready to go, say let's go.
Let's go.
Woo!
We're out.